Okay. So like I said earlier, we are going to be creating this series of trainings for those of you who are on this call that are interested in either sharing doTERRA oils casually with your friends and family on the side when you have time, just because you really love the oils and you love what the products have done for your life and you want to share that with those around you and be compensated for that, whether it's a few dollars here and there to help with your orders or eventually even becoming free healthcare for you. So basically your healthcare, your oils are completely covered this every month. And several people on this call are already there. They've been sharing oils for a year, maybe under a year, maybe a couple years. I've only been in doTERRA for 4 years, so it wouldn't be any more than that. And I know their oils are fully paid for. So their oils, their skincare, their cleaning products, anything that they use from our line is completely covered. And that's from Casually Sharing. And some of you may be interested in doing that and then supplementing or replacing your income. So going beyond free oils and having your income be supplemented, or maybe even one day you could make more money with doTERRA than you do at whatever you do for a living. I know that was the case with me. I started with doTERRA and was also working, for the first year I did doTERRA, I wasn't working at all. And then I think after the first year I did part-time in private practice as a mental health therapist. And within 10 months, I was able to double my income and stick just with growing my business the following, 2 years. So it's very possible. And I think what happens with doTERRA and sharing is that there's so many ways to do it. There's, as many personalities are there that are out there on this call and in the world, and as many creative ideas you could come up with is as many ways as you can share doTERRA. And so I find that sometimes people get overwhelmed and they're like, okay, I really want to do this, but I don't know where to start. I don't know what materials to use or how to even talk about these oils. Which oils do I teach about? How do I teach about them? Like, do I have to get up and give that whole class that Rodney gave? Because I'm never going to be able to do that, right? So it can feel overwhelming. So what I decided to do was create this series of trainings where I explain in what I have found after trying trial and error, right, of doing this many different ways, what I have found to be the simplest. And this is just my way of building. There's Rodney built a different way and it's worked for him, but this is my way of building. And the reason why I chose to teach you guys this way is because I feel like it's the easiest, simplest kind of, just where it would make it less overwhelming to just get started and do it. Because I feel like a lot of times people feel like until they know every single thing about every oil and every way to teach and every tear sheet, they just don't get started. And I'm here to tell you that that day will never come. It hasn't come for me. It hasn't come for any of my leaders. We will never know it all. So what I encourage you to do is learn the basics, which is what we're going to learn in this series, and get started wherever you are. If you've used 1 or 2 oils and you've found benefit from them, that's enough for you to share that forward with someone else and get started in sharing and creating some sort of income with this business. So in doTERRA, we have an acronym that's PIPES. And what that stands for is prepare, invite, present, enroll, and support. And that is exactly what we do to build this business, whether you're sharing casually or whether you're building. Those are the steps we do. We can do them in different ways, and that's where it can get a little tricky. But those are the 5 steps I did when my first day starting to teach doTERRA. Those are the steps I did as an elite rank, as an executive rank, as a silver rank, as a gold rank, as a platinum rank, as a diamond rank. And that is what I will do for the rest of my career in doTERRA, because that is how we continue to grow our business. No matter what rank we are, we never stop doing those things. So there's a way to do those activities in a very more effective way, and there's a way to do it where it's not as effective. And I've seen a lot of people do these things that ends up not working, and then they become a bit discouraged. So I'm going to go over, we're going to just start with prepare, and I'm going to show you some of the tools that I use. I don't know how far in we're going to get, like I said, because I'm only going to make this call go till like 7:45, so you guys have chances to ask questions, and then we will schedule the following call and go over the next, wherever we end here. We'll keep the series going. They're going to be on the file section. So let's start with prepare. So many times people come to me, and it's happened, you know, more recently, more often recently, and tell me, Marlene, I'm ready to start this business. I'm ready to get going with doTERRA. I see how much success you've had with it and how much you love what you do, and I hate my job, and I'm ready to get started, right? And so we have a call, they're ready to get started, and then I never hear from them again, or nothing happens, or they enroll 3 people and then they disappear. And so preparing is such an important part of what we do with this business. And this business is a network marketing business. It is a business of constantly and consistently expanding your market, expanding your reach. Okay. And I'm here to tell you, you don't need to know a lot of people. You know, sometimes people will say, oh, Marlene, I would really love to do that, but I just don't know that many people. You know, it's like you don't open a store to sell to your friends and family, right? Like you open a business to sell to the public. And so it doesn't matter if you don't know a lot of people. You will get to know more and more people because of how you put you're deliberate in your efforts to do that. And there's many different ways to do that. But if you have a warm market, like if you know that, yeah, you do have a few people, and this is a tricky thing because depending on your past history, if you've worked in network marketing before, if you've tried to sell things before, that may be a place where maybe you've exhausted your warm market for a while, or you could feel that way, right? So this is an area where it really depends on your personal situation. With my situation, my mother was really sick. She got better with natural medicine. People saw her get better and then asked her, what did you do? And she started sending me people. And so that's how I got started. And that may be the case for you. Maybe you have a powerful testimony, or maybe someone you know has a powerful testimony, and you start getting people to ask you, like, what did you do? How did you get better? Maybe you know people who have some sort of ailment, but if it doesn't feel comfortable just yet to reach out to them and be like, oh, I'm selling these oils. Can we meet up so I can tell you about them? And make it feel like you're, you know, salesy or what have you. There's other ways to gently start in kind of tapping into your warm market without making it feel like you're going to be pushing them to buy something from you. One of the ways that has been really effective for some people that I know that are very new to doTERRA or even new to network marketing is to simply reach out to, first you make your names list. So we say 100 names, get as close to 100 names as you can. People that you know, look at your Facebook, friends and family, acquaintances, people from school, whatever that is for you, just write them down on a list. It doesn't mean you're going to reach out to all of them, but just write them all down. And then just pick a few that you feel comfortable and that maybe you know these people have health needs that you know the oils can help them with. And one of the ways is asking them if it's okay for you to meet with them to present something, you know, the oils, which is something that you're into now and you just want to practice. Like, can I just sit with you and practice a consult? I really love these oils and I really am interested in building this business, but this is new for me. So could you just sit with me and let me kind of do my presentation and give me your feedback? That for new people, this isn't going to work for people who are already doing doTERRA, but for the very new people, that's very effective to do that. People want to help. You know, if someone asked me that, I'd be like, sure, I'll sit with you for a presentation. And what's going to happen probably that by the end of the presentation, if the oils, right, because we know how much the oils are amazing, I would have wanted to try them out anyway, right? So if it feels like you're afraid to kind of reach out and feel like you're pushing or selling or whatever, asking in that way has been really effective. And that's part of your preparation. whatever that is for you, just speak from your heart, you know, whether it's like, I love these oils, I've become more passionate about helping people with their health. Are you open to meeting with me to try them out? However that is for you, do it in a way that that feels comfortable and that's coming from an authentic place. And I think that's all it's really going to take for the person to be open to listening. You know, you can even say like, there's no pressure to buy anything. I just want to share this with you and see what you think. So then preparing, you have to have your names list. If you don't have a ton of people that could come in and, you know, come to a presentation for you, you can then, from the people you have, ask for referrals. So you can ask someone, do you know anyone that has some sort of chronic issue or that, you know, the oils may help them with? Then you get referrals that way. I would say 90% of my business has been referrals. I'm really, really deliberate with anyone that I come across that ends up loving the oils and asking them, do you know someone that I could, you know, you could reach out to that I could sample and get them going too and help them out? Almost every time people will tell me, oh yeah, I know someone that has migraines. I mean, we know how broken our healthcare system is and how much of a need there is for what we have to offer. So if you're constantly planting that seed and asking for referrals, you will get them. And when you are in a place of service where you're going to sample them, you're going to meet with them, you're going to consult with them, you know, the sales are going to happen organically. Okay. So if you're new to this, come from that place. That's how you prepare. You get your names list, you start asking for referrals, you get your little sample bottles going. If you don't know where to get sample bottles, please contact your enroller or go on our leadership page, and there's links there for where you can get the sample bottles. You have your samplings. Then in terms of tools, I personally use two things to teach, no matter what I'm teaching, whether it's a class, a one-on-one, a vendor event, whatever it is. I use this. It's a trifold. It comes in one sheet, double-sided, and it is the best cheap investment you would ever make. I have the blank file for it, so it's already set. If you're interested in getting them, I can email it to you. All you would have to do is put your own picture in the front, and then in the back, you can see it has a space for like your doTERRA website, your ID number, your Facebook page, your phone number, your email. Okay, so all your info's here. I don't bother with business cards. People lose business cards. They're these little things with contact info, and people forget who you are. They don't even know where they got it or who they. This is something that people are going to know who you are because the picture's there. It has all the information in terms of like what an essential oil is, how you use them. Like you could literally read this and teach an entire class. And this is all you need. You don't need to get every tear sheet on Aroma Tools. You don't need to get every piece of literature to teach from. This is all you need for teaching. The only other thing that I get is called the Natural Solutions Packet. I get it from the back office, and it's part of our Empowered Success series, which is are the tools that I personally use when I go and I take a client through each of the steps in when, you know, they work with me as a client. So the Natural Solutions is, it's a 10-pack for $4. It has similar information to this, except it has the entire like list of product that we have with prices. It has a list of our kits, and then it has the order forms in the back. I get that for my classes. Really, you could still even use this. This has a couple of the kits here. So it just doesn't have the prices of every single oil. So if you're teaching from this and someone decides they're going to maybe not get a kit and they're going to order, you know, start with the $35 and order a few oils, the other pamphlet is nice because it has the prices of all of them. But you could also just bring a catalog with you and buy just a sheet of order forms or print them out. Everything that we have here, you can get for free. You don't have to purchase it. You can go on your back office and doTERRA lets you download and print all of that out if you choose to do that. So either way, those are the two things I use. So that's your preparation. You get your trifolds, you get your order forms, and then what are we inviting people to? So we're inviting them to either a one-on-one, right? So just meet with you for coffee and talk about oils and explain to them how the oils can help them. Or you're going to teach a class. Those are the two ways that we share doTERRA, other than like vendor events, which I'll do a whole video on vendor events another time. But you invite to a one-on-one and you teach a presentation, you teach a class. Those are the ways. Some of you may feel like, oh, you're not ready to get in front of a whole group yet to teach a full-on class. That's totally fine. 80% of my doTERRA business that I've grown, which I think now we're at almost 2,600 people in 15 countries, 80% of that I built one person at a time. One person at a time. I do most of my business one-on-one. I do teach classes, and I've taught many, but the bulk of what I do is one-on-one. So you can absolutely grow this business one person at a time. And the reason that I feel like it's effective to do that is because what ends up happening with these classes sometimes is, let's say you have a place where you're doing classes and you meet someone or someone refers someone to you and they're like, oh, this person needs oils. Can you meet with them? And you say, okay, sure. I have a class next week. Invite them to the class. What could happen? They could forget. It's a week later. They lost your contact information. Something comes up, whatever, right? So what I do when there's a lead is, or someone says, Marlene, this person needs help with oils. Right away, I set the appointment. They could go to a class later, but I set the appointment to go over a consult with them. Okay, so that's your first step. When people tell me, Marlene, I have this person interested, what do I do? What information can I send them? You don't want to send them any information. You want to set an appointment to have a consult with them and make it very low pressure, just really easy. Let's link up for 15 minutes. I do a complimentary consult for 15 minutes, and just to get to understand, what it is that you need and what you need it for. And we'll go from there, and I can make the best recommendations. No pressure. You don't have to buy anything if you don't want anything. But if you decide you want something, I want to make sure that you get the best possible deal for what you're getting. How does that sound? Most people will say, absolutely. When can we meet? You could do that in person. You can meet in your home office. You can meet at a cafe. You can meet on a Zoom call like this. You can meet on the telephone. Whatever that is, doesn't matter how you speak to the person, get with them to do the consult. What does the consult look like? It shouldn't take more than 10 to 15 minutes. If your consults are going on for an hour, 45 minutes, an hour and a half, that is not something that you're going to be able to sustain with longevity. It's going to burn you out. It's going to drain you. That just means that the person's going around in circles with you, and that's not necessary. You can go through a consult. If they're really serious about getting started, you can do that in 10 to 15 minutes. If you find that they're just kind of going around in circles, it's time to cut the call short. Why? Because the day's going to come when you may have 10 of those appointments in a day. You don't want to be repeating the same information 10 times for an hour to 2 hours at a time, right? So how do you do that? Really easy. You use your trifold. What's in this trifold are the 10 basic oils. These are the oils. Most of you probably got started with a kit that has these 10 oils in it. These are the 10 basic oils that every new person should start with. No matter what their ailment is, no matter what their issues are, you always want to teach them about these 10 oils. Because, number one, they save the most money by getting started with the 10 basic oils. Number two, no matter what ailment or what wellness goal they have, there's going to be at least a few oils in this kit that will help them. Number three, it makes it easy for you. All you have to do is learn these 10 oils to get started. Become familiar with them, use them every day. Go through and use at least 4 or 5 oils of the 10 basic ones every single day so you become comfortable understanding how each of them helps the body. And then you don't have to memorize all the oils we have in doTERRA. All you need to know is these 10 oils to get started. That's it. And you don't have to memorize them. You have your trifold, so you can go through as they're talking to you and see which oils. So what I do is, in a consult, we'll start with the consult. The class video might be another day if I think we don't even have that much time left. But in a consult, the way I start it is I just ask them, thank you for meeting with me. I'm really excited to help you with your wellness goals. Usually it's like a referral. So I'll say, Janet told me that you had some issues with sleeping, that you were interested in trying something for that. And I know that the oils have really helped her. So I'm so grateful that she's, invited you to give them a try. So is that, and I'll say like, is that something that, you're looking to do? Yeah. And sometimes they'll say, yeah, I really need, I have issues with sleep. So what would you do? You would take your trifold and you would check off lavender and frankincense, right? Because we know those oils help with sleep. So I'll go say sleep, frankincense, lavender. I say, okay, so what else, is there anything else that you would like to work on with your wellness? Are there any other issues you have? And you'd be surprised if the person goes, no, that's it. I'm good. I just have problems sleeping. Ask questions, dig deeper. 99.9% of the time I get that answer and I start asking questions, I end up with a laundry list of information from them. So if let's say they say, no, that's all I have, I'll look at my oils. The next one down the line is lemon. So I'll say, how's your, your metabolism? Are you happy with your weight? Are you trying to maintain your weight, lose some weight? A very large percentage of the time, they say, oh, I'd like to lose a couple pounds. Yeah. Oh, okay. How many pounds would you like to lose? 10 pounds would be great. Awesome. You check off lemon, right? The next one's melaleuca. So I'll ask them, do you ever get any sort of like skin issues? Do you break out, or, that time of the month, or do you have any? Oh yeah, I get this really bad pimple, like right on my forehead. I look like a unicorn. Okay. Check off. So you see, even if they say they don't, they're fine. There's always something. And what you do is I just go through and I look. Oregano is the next one. So I'll say, how many times did you take antibiotics this year or last year? How many times were you prescribed antibiotics by your doctor? They'll say, oh, one time I got the flu, or I got a cold, or whatever. I had an ear infection. Right? They'll say that. So then I'll mark off oregano. Even if they say, no, I haven't gotten sick in years, I'll go, that's awesome. That means you're doing something right. Awesome. Good for you. Peppermint's next. So I'll say, do you ever get like any sort of congestion, or when you go out and it's like high pollen? You just ask the right questions and they're going to let you know. And as they're letting you know, you just check off. Maybe they say, no, I have no allergy issues. Nothing. Okay. So you don't check that one off. You go over. What about digestive issues? How do you go to the bathroom every day? You'd be surprised how many people tell me no. No, like every 4 days. That's not being healthy, right? We know we're supposed to go to the bathroom every day. So it's the questions that you ask, and then I just check off the oils. When I'm done with my questions and I've checked off, normally in every consult, I'll at least check off 6 to 7 oils every single time. Even if they say no to certain things, I'll keep asking questions until I get enough of what I'm looking for, knowing that they're going to need some of this. Sometimes they just give me the information. Oh my God, I got high blood pressure. I got diabetes. I get migraines. We know that people in this country are sick. So most of the people are going to give you a whole laundry list of issues they have. So once I'm done checking off the oils, I'll say, well, based on what you've shared with me today, though there's many different ways to get started with doTERRA, the most effective and the most affordable ways to get started are with our enrollment kits with the 10 basic oils. From what you just told me, right off the bat, I can see you using 7 out of the 10 oils. And then I'll go through which one, how they'll use them. You said you have this. This is what you would use for that. And then I'll show them the sizes of the bottle. So I'll say we have 2 kits. One is this size, one is this size. You get 3 times the oil with this one, and you're not paying 3 times the price. You're not even paying double for this one. So it's the best value, and you get a diffuser. And you don't pay the wholesale price of the $35. You explain that, and then you just say, which one of these kits sounds good to you today? And then the first one to talk loses. And people are very uncomfortable with silence. So this is the part where people start talking, and they don't end up even asking the person if they want to purchase anything because you're so afraid of what the answer is going to be. So you give them the information, which of these kits sounds good to you, and then you let them talk. If they say, oh, I think I'm going to start with a small kit. Okay, great. If they say, I'm not really looking to spend $150 today. It's kind of pricey for me. I need to think about it. Then you go to the next step and you explain that there's a $35 membership fee or wholesale account fee. I don't like to say membership because it's the stigma around being a member and like all of that. So I just say wholesale account. And then I say, what's comfortable for you? What can you invest in your wellness to get started with? And what would be a comfortable monthly investment in your health for you? Because you could start with that, and let's say they say, okay, well, I feel comfortable spending, $60 a month for like, okay, great. So we'll get you started with the first few issues you mentioned this month, and then we're going to get you on our loyalty program for next month, and you're going to do 90 days. I ask that people give me 90 days to help them with their wellness goals, because that's a good amount of time for you to get started with a new routine and actually feel the benefits. How does that sound? And let them answer. Okay. And that's basically it. The consult, few minutes. You don't need to start. You don't need to know everything. It's all on here for you. If it still feels tricky and like you're not ready yet, the next thing you can do is involve your enroller. Many times people that are interested in doing this will Zoom me in, and that I've enrolled. They'll Zoom me in with their person, and I'll do the consult, and they'll learn, and they'll see me do a few of them until they feel comfortable. That's totally fine as well. But if you feel like you can handle it, and you have your materials, and you can just go through and your 10 oils, that's all you need to learn. If you're not comfortable yet, get comfortable with your 10 oils. And that's all you need to do for a good consult. And then those are the types of questions you ask for enrolling. It's already 7:42. That's just the beginning though, okay? Enrolling, and a lot of you already started doing that. You've already enrolled. We have one of the highest percentages of enrolling for the size team that we have in doTERRA. Like, we do so well with that, okay? But it's the first step. In doTERRA, we do a lot more than enroll our clients. We're there to support and guide them and help them understand how to get on this lifestyle, on this path of making doTERRA a lifestyle, not just like they get a kit and then, okay, see ya. No. Okay, but that's what ends up happening a lot of times, because people are not trained properly in how to take somebody from enrollment to lifetime doTERRA client on your team. Okay, and with the retention rate that we have in doTERRA of almost 70%, that is very doable if you guide and educate them properly. Okay, so that's where our training is going to stop today with the consult. Next time, I'm going to finish up the enrollment process, and then we're going to talk about what comes after that, which is the lifestyle overview, which could be considered like a second enrollment. Okay, very, very important piece to getting people started with doTERRA. But I'm going to open it up for questions now. So we have about 15 minutes to answer questions. I know I was talking for a long time. I don't know if there's anyone in chat. If you don't want to speak the question out, you can also just type it in the chat, and I will look at them and answer the questions. If you have anything, you could unmute yourself, and we can go from there. But again, if you're brand new, you're going to get started by starting your names list, reaching out to your people to see who's willing to meet with you to have you practice your presentation, or if they can give you referrals. You can get your sampling going, right? And then set your appointments. And besides that, this is the training call, and we do these, it's going to be once a month or twice a month. Then we also have strategy calls that are more one-on-one to help you with your individual needs as you're going through this journey and this process. And those can be weekly, bi-weekly, or monthly with your enroller. And if your enroller is not really involved in the business on the level that you need, then you would just keep going up. In your back office, you can see your upline report. And if I'm the closest person to who's doing the business, we could set up our strategy call. What my requirements are for strategy calls is that you do have events planned for that month. And I need to see what the events are and the appointments that you have scheduled and your names list. So it's got to be like you have a real plan, you know, if you want to meet one-on-one and do a strategy call. Okay, so I'm happy to do those and set those up as well. I guess that was it for the materials. Like I said, if you want this trifold thingy, you can email your enroller to have the blank form sent. I just got them printed on Vistaprint. The Natural Solutions package is on your back office under Empowered Success Library. And that's where you can get that from. Or you can just print out your order forms, or you can, you know, either way. You can buy them or you can print them out. Either way is fine. And that's basically it. Next time, we're also going to talk about classes. We didn't really get into classes today. We stuck with the one-on-one. We'll talk about classes, and we'll get into the member overview next call or however far we get. Okay? Any questions?
I just wanted to share. Hi, Marlene.
Hi.
Hi. So I just wanted to share an experience I had today, actually. After work, I met with someone. It was actually the person who was the event coordinator for the vendor event we did last month. I finally scheduled a one-on-one with her today in Starbucks, which is where she felt more comfortable meeting. And I did exactly what you just explained right now. I brought my trifold. I explained everything to her. And at the end, I showed her the kits and I asked her what kit she felt more comfortable with. And I zipped it and I waited. She didn't enroll, but she said, ooh, my kid is going back to school and this month is a little hard for me, but I'm really interested in the Natural Solutions kit or the Home Essentials. I'm in between both. Could you call me on September 3rd? So,
awesome.
I was happy. Yes,
that's perfect. Did you give her the option to fill out the form and process it on September 3rd?
I didn't. No, I told her
okay.
I would call her. And I did bring the form with me.
Right. So, I mean, that's fine. And definitely on September 3rd, you're going to be on the phone. Before I say that, I just want to also say that is very common. Okay. A very, very high percentage, like 80-90% of people that you speak to may not enroll the very first time you speak to them. In fact, statistically speaking, it takes 5 to 12 times of you meeting someone over and over again before they make a purchase. Okay, so if they did it the first time or the second time, you're in a good spot. I still enroll people. Still to this day, I enroll people that I first talked to oils. I talked to them about oils 3 years ago. I'm still enrolling them today because I keep in touch with people. I have them connected on my Facebook, all of those things. So that's very, very common. I have a lady coming, I think it's Friday. I mean, I'm talking about like 8 months of like setting appointments to come. And she doesn't make it, or she gives me an excuse or whatever. And I keep, every month I have my names list. I have a names list too. And I keep, unless they tell me, no, Marlene, I changed my mind, I'm not interested, I keep following up. There's this saying, the fortune is in the follow-up. And that is a huge part of this business. And so we're going to have a whole training on follow-ups too. Because it's not that we're calling them up like, okay, are you ready to buy yet? Are you ready to buy? Are you ready? No, that's not what we're doing. Follow-up, there's an art to it, okay? And we're going to learn how to do that in a way where it's not pushy or salesy or anything like that. But that's a big part of it. Now, Natalie has a exact date to follow up. The one thing I would have done differently is brought the form with me. And then when she says that, say, okay, that sounds amazing. I totally understand. There's so many, and it's true. There's so many expenses to, you know, back to school with the kids and buying supplies and clothes and all of that. It's very valid. And also saying, you know, but it's so important to have the tools for your kids too, because that's when they start getting sick. As soon as they get back to school and the kids and everyone's sick and the teachers are sick and they're bringing it home and the siblings are getting it. So let's make sure that as soon as, you know, you can, you have these tools, because health is like right at the top of this list, right? And we don't want to keep, you know, poisoning our kids with the stuff that just keeps them sick. Have the order form. Would you be okay with filling this out so I have all the information and it makes our follow-up easier? And if you're not sure on the kit yet, I'll check in with you that day so you can pick which one you're comfortable with, and I'll just go ahead and process it after that. Because she was still not sure which kit she wanted. If she knew what kit it was, I would just say, okay, we'll mark the kit off. put your credit card information here, and on September 3rd, I'll process it. How does that sound? Right? And so this way, and many times people will say yes, and they'll fill it out, and then I'll put the date down on the bottom, and then make sure you have an alarm that goes off so that you process it on that day. But that's the one other thing, Natalie, that I just would have did a little differently. She may have went ahead and filled it out, and then you would have just had to call her to see which kit she wanted, or maybe even discussed it further with her at that point, and maybe she would have just made her selection. Either way. But, that's awesome. And that's exactly it. Not everyone's going to do it right there. You're going to follow up, and it's going to happen at one point or another if they're really serious. If that was an excuse, that happens too, and that's a part of this journey. But many times it's just a valid thing. They can at that point. It was their first touch, and now you're on your follow-up, mission, and that's going to happen at another time. Natalie enrolled with me, I think 2 years after the first class she attended with me in New York. And here she is building doTERRA today. So that's a big part of this, is having the patience, serving people, keeping in touch with them, truly, genuinely wanting to help them with their wellness. And whenever you're planting that seed, and at some point will be the right time for them. It may not be that very first time you meet them. So make sure to connect, add them to your Facebook, put them on your mailing list, on your text splits list, and all of that. Oh, I didn't even talk about text splits, but we'll do that on the next call as well. Okay, thank you for that, Natalie. Anyone else have something to share, or question, or anything?
I have a question. Based on what you hear me?
Yep.
Okay. Based on what Natalie said, I'll have a lot of people who do that to me. They'll say, "Oh, I want the home essentials kit because I want the larger bottles, but I can't afford that right now. But I'm gonna do it next month." Would it be wrong to say "Oh, well, why don't you just get the small kit?" Because I'm afraid that they won't come back to me, and it's a way, what if I tell them, "Oh, okay, well, give me 150. Well, I don't say it like that, but okay, if you can afford the 150, or a smaller kit, get it now, so at least I can get them on the system. Absolutely. And then try to get them on LRP. I mean, I don't know. I guess
if they start talking about next month, and I absolutely say that. I say that. I'll say, well, is there something that you're comfortable with starting right now instead of waiting? Is the smaller kit more affordable for you to get started with today? Or like I said, I may tell them, well, why don't we do a 90-day plan? And what's comfortable for you to spend for the next 3 months, so we can put it on. And then what happens is you're getting them right on LRP. So now you're getting them right on the auto ship program, and they're going to order something after the 3 months. Most likely 70% of the time, we know people are going to stay on. So yeah, I think that's very valid to ask. I mean, they may say, no, I really want that deal. I really want to get the bigger oils. They may say that, but if you could get them started the day of, even if they're starting with a smaller kit or they're spending a little less, absolutely. Because then you just get them to order the next ones on, LRP. And maybe you even offer an incentive. I'm not big on incentives for enrollments because I don't feel like they are a smart investment, because you're just getting one order. But if you get them on LRP, I'll say, okay, so what about if you get started with, what can you afford this month? $80. Okay, so this gets you started with a few oils this month and put the rest next month, and I'll give you the diffuser free. And now I'm getting them on LRP and then giving them a diffuser to get on LRP. I'm not going to do that just for enrolling them. That's not worth it, because you're paying your fast start away and you're not getting anything else if they never get on LRP, right? But if you get them on LRP, offer an incentive, that's way better. I would rather enroll somebody with $35 and a lemon oil and get them on LRP than enroll them with a huge kit and never see them again, right? So absolutely, that's super valid, and I would try to get them either in a smaller kit or break it up and get them to give you what their budget is. And I'll ask that all the time. I don't just try to sell a kit. I'll always say, what is your wellness budget for the next 90 days? Because your goal is not to sell them a kit. Your goal is to get them into the doTERRA lifestyle and loyalty program. So if they tell you, I say, we have to have a budget. We got a budget for our cell phone. We got a budget for, our entertainment. We got a budget for our food. What's your health budget? Right? Because we know insurance is not going to pay to keep us healthy. We have to have a budget for that. And so people will tell me what the budget is, and I get a very high percentage on LRP because of that. Because I get them right on. They've already told me what their monthly budget is. We pick out their wish list for their kit and then for their first LRP order. And if it takes giving them a free diffuser that maybe cost us $15, super worth it, right? To now have a client that's going to be on your loyalty program for years to come, most likely. So that's definitely the goal. Does that make sense to everyone? Asking for the 90-day budget, right? Sometimes I'll say something like, you've given your doctors 30 years to fix that problem. Give me 90 days, right? If they're coming to us, usually they've exhausted, everything else and they're still feeling crappy. So they're really ready to get started with something that's going to help them. 90 days is not a whole lot of time to ask for, them to try something out at their comfort level, whether that's $40, $30, $50, whatever it is for them. That's the beauty of doTERRA. We have an oil at every budget. We have a product that fits every budget. So you can tailor that for what that is for them and get them right on that LRP. If you could do that at the enrollment, even better. But if you don't do it at the enrollment, I'll teach you how to do that at the lifestyle overview, which is going to be the next training call. Well, we're going to go over a class setting as well. But the lifestyle overview is a big, big part of the LRP. Okay. Anything else? We have a few minutes left. No? Okay. Well, I hope you guys have a wonderful August. Enjoy getting ready for the fall. It's going to be our busy season, so it's going to be really exciting. Those of you going to convention next month, super excited for it, especially if you've never been before. It is the highlight of my year. And I know you guys, I know Taina's going, Natalie's going. It's amazing. If you couldn't get there this year, please, please, please try to get there next year. And even if you're not like full on, building the business or what have you, a lot of people in doTERRA that go to convention are not builders. And that's very rare for like a convention of a business, but so many people just go to learn about the oils and to learn how they're helping their families. So it doesn't even necessarily mean you have to be huge in building your business. You may be inspired to do that once you're done with the convention though. It's really, really inspiring there to see all the beautiful things we do around the world. So really excited for you guys, and we'll have lots of information on that when we get back. Or maybe even from there, maybe we'll do some videos and show you all the new products that are coming out during convention, which is a big exciting part of being there. We get to see them and sample them first before they come out. Okay. Alrighty. Well, thanks for being on the call. I will post this recording in the Healing Hippie Leader Forum. Rodney, I'm sure will post it on his leader page, and all the other leaders here will post it on their pages. Feel free to comment in the thread if you have other questions, things I may not have covered. I know it's a lot of information. I'm happy to go over it again on our next call. But again, I'm going to create this series so that every new person that comes in, they can start watching these and we don't have to kind of explain the same thing over and over and over again when we have interested people, which happens very often in doTERRA. So love you guys. Take care. Have a wonderful, beautiful August.